Hello, listeners. You're listening to KRUI 89.7 FM. My name is Ryan Barr, and today we'll be sitting down with actor and author Hill Harper. Hill Harper is an award-winning actor, best-selling author, and humanitarian whose work spans entertainment, public service, and community advocacy. Best known for his roles as Dr. Sheldon Hawkes on CSI New York, Harper has also appeared in series like Homeland, The Good Doctor, and films including Concussion and All Eyes on Me. Beyond acting, he's the author of multiple New York Times bestsellers addressing health, wealth, incarceration, and youth empowerment. Harper is also the founder of the Manifest Your Destiny Foundation, which supports undeserved youth through mentorship and scholarships. An Iowa City native, Harper is a graduate of Brown University and Harvard Law School, and has served on President Obama's cancer panel and continues to speak nationally on social justice, health, and civic engagement. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Ryan Barr, you're amazing. It's great to be on. Hey, everybody in Iowa. I'm excited to be coming, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate your guys' flexibility. And I kind of want to start hearing about your time in Iowa City as an Iowa City native. Can you
Oh,
tell me a
wow.
little bit what
Well,
it was like to grow up here?
I was born in Iowa City because my parents were doing their medical residency. My mother was an anesthesiologist, and my father was a psychiatrist, and they met in at Howard University in Washington D.C. when they were both in medical school. My father was from Iowa, and I have a long lineage in Iowa on my paternal side of my family, particularly in Fort Madison and Keokuk
Yeah.
areas. And so my father grew up in Fort Madison, and when I was um, very young, uh, obviously I was born in Iowa City. They were there, and then when they finished their residency, they moved to Keokuk first. So I was living in Keokuk, and then we moved to Fort Madison. So I lived in Fort Madison, and then eventually my parents split, and my mother took a professorship at the University of California, San Francisco, and I moved to the Bay Area, San Francisco. But my grandfather had an 88-acre farm outside of Fort Madison. I'd spend all my summers there, and I loved it. And and all of my cousins went to the University of Iowa, basically, virtually almost all of them, and very proud that there's a Harper family um, kind of wing or hallway dedication at the University of Iowa, and very proud of my family's history in Iowa. It's just a fantastic history.
Are you gonna have some family show up for your lecture this next week?
I hope so. I hope they show up. You never know. But a lot of them have moved away.
Yeah.
But hopefully they will show up for the lecture, and it would be really nice.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people here are really excited to hear it. Can you tell me a little bit about your time at college? You went to Brown and Harvard, and then you became an actor. So how were your academic goals kind of aligning with those artistic pursuits at the same time?
To be honest, I think that we teach young people the wrong thing about education. We tell young people, study this so you can do this, which actually limits options. And I think the purpose of education is to expand your options. It's study this so you can do this. And so when people find it odd, I laugh. They say, well, you went to Harvard Law School, you got a JD in law, and you didn't practice? Why? Because studying law is phenomenal. It's wonderful. It doesn't mean you have to do it. I didn't want to sit in an office with a necktie around my neck and pushing paper and doing stuff. That's not what I want to do. But I loved learning the law, and I love studying civil rights law, Native American law, estate planning, and all of the legacy issues. Love studying criminal justice and what and what that looks like. So to me, study whatever makes you happy and you're passionate about, and then do for a vocation whatever makes you happy. And I loved acting. When I was at Brown, I took a theater arts class my first semester freshman year called Voice for the Actor Shakespeare Theater Arts 21, taught by Professor Barbara Tannenbaum, and it changed my life. I didn't At the time, I didn't know I was going to be a professional actor, and that's what I was going to do as my main career. But I just knew that I loved it, and I followed my heart, and that's what I hope everybody does. Life is way, way, way too short to be doing things and spending time doing things that you're not passionate about. You got to go for your highest passion, your highest love, and acting is and was that for me.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm a screenwriting major here at the Iowa, but I'm a criminology minor as well. So I love the theater and I love cinema, but I
Great.
also totally
Well,
enjoy
that just
the
shows
law
you
as
and I have
well.
we should do a movie together. You should right.
We're already there.
I've played a lot of cops. So you should, we should do some kind of espionage
Yes.
or murder mystery from the criminology side, and then you write it and direct it, and I'll star in it.
I love this idea. We're getting networking here. This is who
That's
knew?
right. This is live on the air networking.
I'm on the air. Have you played a lawyer yet, or has it been mostly doctors and cops?
I've played mostly doctors and cops, but I played a lawyer on Law and Order recently. It was
Love
had a
law.
great time. I thought, I think I play a lawyer really well. So
You're like,
uh,
I've studied this. I actually
I
don't do
study this.
it.
I know. I, may it please the court. I can say that really well.
Yeah, that's half the battle.
That's half the battle. Half the battle.
So we just talked about you playing a doctor a lot, and your parents were also both doctors. Did they have any advice for you when you were playing a doctor? Any little bit of criticism with certain things of the medical
Oh, they
show?
loved it. They no, but I would ask my mom about certain pronunciation because what's funny is you could get the phonetic pronunciation, but that doctors always, to keep it really realistic, they always say it differently. Like they shorthand it, or they say this or they say that. So I really wanted to get the real shorthand, the real cool version of how doctors approach, and so that she was very helpful for that.
That's so funny. I see actors talk about all the time, like their parents who are in the fields that they acted in. Like Noah Wiley's talked about it a lot. And it's just so funny to me that you find yourselves in those situations. Best part of acting,
Yeah,
yes.
it's great, and of course, as you mature and you play different characters, the different characters come. So you mentioned Noah Wiley. I did ER years ago, and I was a patient, but now I'd probably be, like on The Good Doctor, the guy who runs the hospital. So you change over time based off where you are in your career and the ages you play.
Yeah. I love ER. That's one of my favorite shows right there. So I got
It
very
was
excited when you
great.
mentioned that.
It was great. Yeah, I had a lot of scenes with George Clooney. It was fun.
So you were in the early seasons too.
Early seasons. Yeah, he was actually, when I was doing that show, he was actually filming the film that really kind of catapulted him as a movie star. The movie he did with Jennifer Lopez. I can't remember the name of it, but he came to set, and I was like, "How's that movie going?" He's like, "Oh man, I was just locked in a trunk with Jennifer Lopez for 8 hours. It was really good."
Yeah, I mean, tough life.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about your books, and I kind of want to ask you what inspires you to write a book. Is it a certain theme that you want to explore, or is there a certain idea that makes you pick a specific story?
I didn't think I was going to write multiple books. I just knew that I was going to write one for sure, which was Letters to a Young Brother, Manifest Your Destiny, my first book. And then the rest of the books came because that first book was so successful. And it really was just, I didn't think there were a lot of motivational books at the time for young men, particularly young men of color. And I wanted to sort of convey really strong messaging for young men, and because a lot of them growing up without positive role models. And what mentorship really does is, I do believe in mentorship on paper. When I was growing up, there were books that I read, whether it was The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman, or Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. These were amazing books, and they helped guide me and help me shape my choices. And I wanted to write a book that could do the same thing. And that's what all my books are. All my books are ultimately mentorship books.
And you mentioned the idea of mentorship, and your foundation is Manifest Your Destiny, which is focusing on mentorship. Where did that all get started? Still there?
That started with this idea of true belief. If you truly believe in yourself, and you, it's all about manifestation. I do believe you can create any life you want, anything you can create. And in my books, I talk about the idea that we're all active architects of our own life. In fact, in the lectures that I'm going to give when I come to the University of Iowa, I'm going to talk about this idea of being active architects of our own life, because I truly believe that's a universal principle. And we have the ability to create, uh, to design and create whatever life we want, for the positive or for the not so positive, to be quite honest. And whether you admit that you're doing it or not, you are actively creating your own life, your own community, your own university, your own state, your own country. And you ultimately have to live with the results of what you create. And for better or for worse, in many ways, we're experiencing that right now. in our country and many of our institutions. And so there's a lot to explore there. And the book talks about this idea of being unreasonably happy, creating a life, being empathetic, being compassionate, loving, helping others, and leading a life of leadership in that space.
Okay. My next question is about on that same level right there with Letters to a Younger Brother and The Wealth Cure. You give advice on finances and how to further your wealth. And for the young students attending these lectures, what is your advice to them on managing their wealth coming out of college as they may attempt to pursue a passion-driven career?
Well, I was saying you can't be free if the cost of being you is too high. And so a lot of students are dealing with debt. They're dealing with financial debt, education debt. And so that oftentimes can feel very debilitating. And so we have to figure out a way to deal with that. And then also, I mean, there's a many things that we can talk about. But the book, The Wealth Cure, is about how to live a truly wealthy life. And that goes well beyond money. It goes to all the factors that create a wealthy life, which, has a lot more to do with love and connection and community than money. But what the resource of money or the tool of money offers is the ability to navigate those things in a way that offers some measure of freedom and choice. And that's a powerful asset.
Yeah. And then we're kind of speeding through these questions. I love it. Um, ahead of your lecture, is there a certain point that you want students to come and then take away from it? Like if they could learn one lesson for what you have to say, what would you like that to be?
Okay. You caught me mid bite.
Sorry
I
for
took
catching on your lunch break.
You caught me mid bite. I was like, oh, she's asking me a question. Maybe I can take a quick bite. Um, so here's the here's the deal. I love the fact that I'm getting to come back to Iowa, where I was born, and meet with students. One of my favorite things to do is to be on college campuses and meet with folks because, in many ways, the generation of student that I'm going to be talking to, there's a heavy responsibility and burden, unfortunately, that you all have, and that's that you got to get this world back on track. And um, and so hopefully there's going to be some kind of tools that I'll offer to help navigate that. But I hate to break it to folks. It's like my generation has really messed things up, and you guys, unfortunately, it's going to be on you to right the ship.
Well, I know you're taking time out of your day on set to come talk to me, so I really appreciate it. Don't have any more questions for you. We're all set. So if you have any final messages before your lecture or anything else you'd like to say, now's the time.
I lost you for 2 seconds. I don't know what happened. I lost you.
It's all good. It might have been my house. We're having some winter weather right now, so things could be cutting in and out. Just saying that was all my questions, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. And I'll see
You're
you at
amazing.
your
This was a
lecture.
great interview. Are you going to be at any of my lectures?
I'll be at the lecture on Tuesday, the 24th.
Okay. Make sure you introduce yourself, okay?
I will, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your flexibility.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
All right, have a great rest of your
Bye
day.
bye.